Commencement speech at Stanford. He told 3 stories, one about connecting the dots, another about love and loss, and the last one was about death. And in the story he told a quote, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." And to me, this quote is true. Live each day as if you weren't going to have another. You don't want to have any regrets when you look back 10 years from now and you decide that you didn't do something that you wanted to. Also, he says another quote, "Stay hungry and stay foolish." To me, this is about always wanting to learn more, always be adventurous, and always keep going forward. And if you make a mistake, that's okay, but make sure it doesn't turn into a regret. His speech was, "I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening I had a biopsy, where they stuck an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas and got a few cells from the tumor. I was sedated, but my wife who was there told me that when they viewed the cells under a microscope, the doctor started crying, because it turned out to be a very rare form of pancreatic cancer that was curable with surgery. I had the surgery and I'm fine now. This was the closest I've been to facing death, and I hope that that's the closest I get for a few more decades. Having lived through it, I can now say this to you with a bit more certainty than when death was a useful but purely intellectual concept. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't die to go there. And yet death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it, and that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It is life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you, but someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it is quite true. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. When I was young, there was a publication called the Whole Earth Catalog, which was one of the Bibles of my generation. It was created by a fellow named Stuart Brand, not far from here in Menlo Park. He brought it to life with his poetic touch. This was in the late 1960s, before personal computers and desktop publishings. So it was all made with typewriters, scissors, and Polaroid cameras. It was sort of like Google in paperback form, 35 years before Google came along. It was idealistic and overflowing with the neat tools and great notions. Stuart and his team put out several issues of the Whole Earth Catalog, and when it had run its course, they put out a final issue. It was in the mid-1970s, and I was your age. On the back cover of the final issue was a photograph of an early morning country road, the kind you might find yourself hitchhiking on if you were so adventurous. Beneath it were the words, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." It was their farewell message as they signed off. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And I've always wished that for myself. And now, as you graduate and to begin anew, I wish that for you. Stay hungry,